Just as a disclaimer, this video does talk about mental health as well as briefly about suicide. So if you are at all sensitive to, as well as the current events of Kamloops, the residential school up in Canada, and the recent drama of TJ Klune's book, A House on the Cerulean Sea. If you are at all sensitive to those topics or feel the need to argue any of them, please, I don't need your support and I don't need your attitude or comments to muck up my channel. So just don't bother. But if you are in a space in mental health wise to not be able to handle those topics, I highly suggest that you skip that part. I will have time links down in the description down below. So please put your mental health first. Ayi-yu-kwee, Malita, and this is my channel, The Midnight Librarian. And today is my birthday. So if I'm doing this right, and I'm hoping I am, it's actually a couple days beforehand right now, but the day you're watching this should be my birthday. I am turning 30. The big 3-0. This is actually the first time I'm actually admitting that, and mostly because the past couple months I've been saying it's my second 29th birthday. And ultimately what made me chose to just say, come out right out and say it's my 30th is because I need to get over the insecurities that society pushes upon us to try to meet certain goals by different ages: marriage, kids, housing, whatever, owning a house. I'm pretty good where I'm at, and my partner is too, and we're just gonna see where it goes. I decided to make a little video about it, as well as a brief life update. I know I haven't posted a video in a little bit, and I was gonna give you my June TBR as well, so you get a 3-in-1 video here. So for my life update, which is what I'm going to start first, basically I apologize for being MIA. Basically the end of May, towards like mid to end of May, my mental health was just kind of plummeted. I got into a reading slump. Honestly, like for the last like week and a half, I didn't find any book that I really wanted to read, but Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer, I've been listening to this and have just been enjoying it off and on, really. And this is the only book that I've really been able to get into, and I am thoroughly just reveling in it. I apologize if you can hear birds out my window. I do have my window open. It's a little stuffy in here. But yeah, that's basically the only book that for the last part of May I really wanted to read. I will hopefully have a May wrap up here shortly, let's hope. But yeah, ultimately my mental health just kind of went downhill. I was very tired of everything. Texting or replying to comments or emailing just felt exhausting. Just the mere thought of having to respond to something. I ultimately found myself outside a lot more, thinking that that might help, and it somewhat did, but ultimately my productivity was just not great. If this is any indication of how my projects went, I would start something and get some bits almost all the way done. These are the only two with finish on them, and just kind of stop. So I have several projects like that right now, my nails being one of them, my garden being another, several garden spaces actually. I have a vegetable garden in our backyard that is only half done. Like 3 planters have stuff in it, the others have weeds. The front garden, which I have huckleberries and just various flowering plants is only half weeded because somehow, for some reason, I stopped. And the same with the little garden that's right in front, right along our house. Only half of it is weeded with, and I planted California poppies and decided not to weed the rest. So, as well as several art projects have been started and stopped. Ultimately, I kept getting into this mental place where I felt like I wasn't good enough, that because I lacked the energy, I didn't deserve to continue working on it. Basically a very negative space. I am a bit better now. I'm hoping that this is a little turn up. I think it definitely had to do with some of the pressures I was under in May. Our college is being reorganized. I've mentioned this before that I am an administrative support assistant for my local college, local university, and I had been working with 3 departments, helping support them, and this semester I got 6. So I have been helping with 6 departments over this last semester, and some of it didn't change too much, but I felt like the work pressure was a bit more put on me, and ultimately I decided to try to get another job within the university. Didn't know if I would actually get it because I wasn't entirely sure if I would have the experience for it, and I got hired. So actually, the day before you're watching this, so June 4th, is my last day as in my administrative support assistant job, which puts even, you would think that would put even more pressure just because it is the end of the semester. I pushed back my start date to make sure I could wrap everything up nice and neatly, because normally around this time I would be getting ready for summer break, and that's not the case anymore. Come the day that I would have been on my first day of summer break, I am actually starting as a resource and information specialist in my university library. So, yay! I'm super excited about that. I've been curious about library sciences for a bit now, and I think this will be a step in a direction to see if this is what I want to do for a master's, possibly. But I'm hoping, given my attitude in the last couple days and getting into a couple other books that I've been wanting to get into, I am going towards more motivation and more upbeat attitude, particularly with this, not attitude, but a more upbeat mood, a more lighter mental status. I also feel like what also didn't help for May was the residential school news from Canada. So if you don't know, 215 children were found under a residential or on the grounds of a residential school, all unmarked graves. And basically this helps what Native people have been saying for years and years since residential schools were put into place, was that our children weren't just going missing, or being adopted out, or their deaths weren't accidents or anything, that these schools were purposely destroying us. So also apologize for the light change. The sun is setting, so we're going from a cooler to a warm in terms of light. But yeah, that definitely also had an effect on me. What mostly had the effect on me was the attitude of people either not giving a shit about it or still trying to argue the government's sake of just oh, it would have been tuberculosis, or it would have been this. Stop. Why keep undermining Indigenous voices? Why are you still avoidant of the genocide that happened? So that was a real disappointment. Also, that was I think something that was stacked onto that, as well as the TJ Klune drama. Book drama. It really just makes me disappointed in the book community here particularly on Instagram, where some of y'all are so willing to dig your nails into something that you like proclaim to love, despite and despite having like love is love and Black Lives Matter and like really advocating for Pakistan, which great, do it. But then to turn around and tell us Indigenous reviewers that we're in the wrong, that we're reaching, that we're just trying to undermine and gaslight us when we say that TJ Klune's inspiration for the house on the Cerulean Sea is wrong, is really just disappointing, and really just shows your true character. And the fact, and some of you are doing it in like ways that I don't think you even recognize as harmful, as like promoting Indigenous books or promoting Indigenous reviewers, yet you don't follow us, you don't listen to us, you're not amplifying our voices, you're screaming your own supposed allyship but not actually showing anything for it. So that was a huge disappointment. But it also shows me some of y'all's true colors. So go right ahead and keep your performative allyship going, because we pay attention and we know where your loyalties lie and who not to trust the next time things like this come around. But that's the other thing too, isn't it? It's just like the issues with Pakistan and Israel, and then the 215 at the residential school. The fact that all of this is a trend to you is really just disgusting. So anyway, that definitely had an impact, and I'm trying to I think definitely this time away from Booktube and Twitter. I'm still active on Instagram. I was still very active on Instagram, or as active as I usually am, but that I think definitely helped in terms of just taking a step back from social media, spending time outside with whatever projects I could be doing. Despite not finishing them, I still count it as a win, the fact that I even did it. So you might wonder why I just didn't talk about my birthday first. That's because I don't particularly like the attention on celebrating me. Like, I don't mind words of affirmation here and there, but a full-on spotlight on me is very nerve-wracking, which sounds funny for my Booktuber, but I feel like I am talking to you rather than like trying to get attention or something. But yeah, the reason, so I don't this is going to sound presumptuous. I don't presume that y'all are in a giving mood or that you want to do something for me. I don't expect any of that. But if you are, please consider donating to one of my raise awareness links down in the description down below. I have several there. Indian Residential School Survivor Society, which helps with the mental health of residential school survivors up in Canada. I also have a link for Mental Health America. Please definitely consider donating to one of those. Mental health is a huge topic for me. Having lost a brother to suicide myself, as well as having a couple friends come to me recently saying that they were feeling suicidal, is really just disheartening. Not on them, but at the fact, I think that is scary and disheartening. Not that they're feeling this way, they are going to process how they're going to process, but it's the lack of mental health within our communities. My tribe in particular, the Yurok tribe, has had to issue a state of emergency because of the amount of suicides that were within our own tribe. This has been a couple years, and thankfully there are a couple of programs that are coming up to help with that. But the fact that we even had a state of emergency was really scary. So please, even if you feel like spending some money, or feel like giving, please, I highly consider that. If you don't want to donate to one of the two that I have listed down below, I highly encourage you to look into your local mental health, and see how you can help or how you can donate. If you don't feel like giving, I will highly encourage you to share. But yeah, so in terms of videos, I know I've been gone for a bit, and that explanation of what my mental health has been should hopefully help explain why. I do still have ideas. I do still plan on doing booktube videos. Hopefully I will be a little more motivated to do so, as I did get a new computer. I have not been uploading consistently. I think my schedule is fairly non-existent, and will probably continue to be so for a while until I figure out my new work schedule as a resource and information specialist at my library. So yeah, we'll definitely see about that. So here's hoping. Bear with me. Okay, for June, I was really hesitant to do a June TBR just because I wasn't reading something in May. Nothing. I think I put down several books because they do sound interesting to me, but as soon as I started reading them, I'm like, this is not what I'm feeling right now. So I immediately put them down. So I am picking up 3 books and letting you know I want to be able to get to, in hopes that I'll get to them. I'm trying not to put any other pressure on myself, and just kind of relaxing. I do have my year goal for reading this year was 45, and I'm at 36, so I'm ahead, I think, by 18 books is the last time I checked. So I should allow myself to do this anyway. It shouldn't matter if I'm ahead or behind, but just to not put so much pressure on myself. I'm definitely linking her, who talks about how Booktube changed their reading habits and the pressures that Booktube puts upon us, or that we put upon ourselves because of Booktube and social media. I highly suggest you read that or watch it, just because after I watched it, I immediately kind of just tossed my TBR aside from last month and wanted to read something else entirely. Just a random, just wanted to pick something up spur of the moment. That's all I wanted to do, and it didn't work because I was in a slump anyway. But that's the kind of what I'm getting at for this TBR, is just hopefully it's kind of loosey-goosey. It's more of June hopefuls than it is a TBR. First is Love After the End, edited by Joshua Whitehead. This is a collection of an anthology, a collection of stories of Two-Spirit and indigenous queer speculative fiction. I believe that several authors in here I know of. Darcy Little Badger and of course Joshua Whitehead are the only ones I immediately recognize. But I'm excited about this. I find that Pride can be fairly whitewashed, so I'm excited to bring in some indigenous voices into Pride, or my celebrating Pride, so that's, I think, will be fun. This was also gifted to me by the wonderful book wizard Neil Yazzie. I will link his Instagram down in the description down below as well. This has been on the TBR before. We're going to acknowledge that and move right along past, because I don't need that kind of negative energy. So yes. Also keeping with the LGBTQ theme is Kink, another anthology edited by R.O. Kwon and Garth Greenwell. This is a collection of stories revolving around kink, which is a dynamic anthology of literary fiction that opens an imaginative door into the world of desire. The stories then portray love, longing, BDSM, and sexual kinks in all their glory. So I'm excited to get into this as well. And then my final one that I'm going to put on this TBR, or this hopeful pile, is A Closed and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers. This is the second book in the Wayfarers series by Becky Chambers, because this one immediately follows it follows the timeline right after the events that happen in the A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I'm just going to tell you about the summary of It's The Long Way to a Strong and Angry Planet. We are following Rosemary Harper, who is just got hired upon the Wayfarer, who is the Wayfarer crew, which is a ship that bores holes into space and creates like space highways to make it easier to travel to different places in space without taking forever. Rosemary has tried her hardest to make sure that no one can dig up her past, but as the Wayfarer travels to a distant planet that they have to bore a new highway for, as they have basically joined into the Space Senate. We get to learn more about all the crew members upon the Wayfarer, and that it was absolutely delightful. I really enjoyed it, and I've been wanting to get on with the series ever since, and instead of just picking it up because I wanted to, I kept putting it aside to make room for a TBR that made more sense to the general theme of the months. And this does help LGBTQ character representation in here, so it fits the theme, but I'm also just kind of wanting to pick it up, and I have started it. It's not very far in at all, but this is like the first book that I've been able to pick up and haven't immediately put down because I didn't feel like I was very interested in what was going on. So yeah. Yes, you will notice that I do not have the Buzzwordathon's theme for this month listed. I have a slew for the theme this month, which is a name or title in the book title, so like a king, queen, whatever, or a name within the title of the book. I have quite the slew, quite the pile of books with names and titles in the titles of the books, and basically I'm just, if I feel like none of these three are really working for me, or if I finish them, I'm basically going to mood read for the rest of the month. Hopefully I'll pick up one of the ones with a name in it. We shall see. But yeah, no pressure to that. I have heard that the group book for this month is A Lots Away by Darcy Little Badger, and I highly suggest you pick it up. I may pick it up to reread, but I'm not putting any pressure on myself. So yeah, that is my news. That was my updates. That was my TBR. My little mini TBR. So if you read any of these three, let me know your thoughts on them. Please, no spoilers in the comments down below. If you've made it this far, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't yet already, be sure to hit subscribe and the little bell icon to get notified when I post more content. Again, thank you for bearing with me about my lack of a posting schedule, as well as just supporting me, I guess. So thank you very much. I hope that you are in the mental mindset to enjoy your own reading. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you in another video hopefully very soon. Chew.